Bar's got places to be.
Okay.
It's Friday.
You guys ready? Okay, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to the Best of Investing on News Talk 910. This is the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. For those of you listening for the first time, here's our format. A few guys sitting around a bar talking business with you, the audience listening in. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm pleased to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing private lender, and Lou Botmal of LPL Financial. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down, 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are sponsored by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. You can reach them at 916-777-5511. And today's trivia theme is Uncle on TV or in the movies. You'll understand when I get to the questions. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. You can email us questions at edward@bestofinvesting.com and listen for your questions on the air. We're also on television, Comcast 26 on Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 6 p.m. Now, today's guest is Dan Roberts, who is running for Congress. And although we're not a political show, we decided to have him on because he's going to discuss fiscal responsibility with us. Dan, welcome to the Best of Investing.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. Now, Lou, you want to get in? You had some great questions you wanted to start getting in.
Well, I told Dan before we started, I do work in the investment community, and there's a lot of things pending that need congressional approval or origination that I'm quite worried about, my client's quite worried about. So, Dan, I want to start off with, how can Congress restore confidence in the financial markets, and what's the first thing Congress should do to restore investor confidence?
Well, I've been working, by way of background, I'm on the FINRA Small Firms Advisory Board. I've been working for 5 years on regulatory reform with the Graham-Dodd Act and the Oxley Act, etc., trying to improve the markets. But you've got to begin, I think, where I begin. That is that these are private investments or private contracts, so you've got to respect that. I'm not sure that the Congress or the SC properly understands that.
Okay. Another quick question in regards to that. If you were elected, I want to ask this question, to Congress, what could you do to control the fiscal cliff that's pending, and what plan would you develop to get us through that period?
I think I begin with the point that what's going on now with the huge deficit, annual overspending, and the level of debt approaching 16 trillion and going to 20, I guess.
What's a few trillion? Just wait till it hits a quadrillion, then I'll be worried, right?
Here and there, then it's real money, as Dirksen used to say. But so let's recognize there's a generational theft going on. Let's call it what it is, and that is it's spending today that are actually the unborn are going to have to pay, and that's not right. Morally corrupt. And so when I go back to Congress, I will try to force the House and to face that issue. Secondly, with the near zero, we haven't talked about this, but the near zero rate investment environment, that's a shift that is penalizing the seniors, including me. I'm a senior, because we can't get really an adequate rate of return, and it hurts all pension funds. You talk about one issue, the elephant in the room, is that why the pension funds are underfunded, can't match their actuarial assumptions, is that they can't get a decent return on their investments to match what they need in the future.
But if you raise interest rates, though, how's that going to affect the business environment?
It has to go to a market rate. It eventually have to go back to a market risk-adjusted rate.
Well, and if you look back 20, 30 years, I mean, the average prime rate was 6%, and we've been hovering at 3 for how long now?
Forget the prime. What does the prime really mean? That's what the banks established.
Yeah.
Let's look at the 10-year Treasury.
There you go.
Right. 10-year Treasury.
1.7.
Yeah.
In fact, speaking of the banks, what I wanted to ask you is, what about the Glass-Steagall Act? First of all, explain that to people and then how things kind of shifted.
Yeah, in the 30s, there was the rewrite by the SEC in 38 forced the commercial banks to separate from the investment banks. So the huge risks that the investment banks take wouldn't be backed by the taxpayers, which is the situation today. So, I'd be a proponent of reinstating the Glass-Steagall Act to separate the investment banks from the commercial banks. The smartest people back there have been influenced by the banks, and no surprise to this, that it's not possible to break them up and go back to where it should be. I think it should be. It should be
Is that because of lobbying dollars, you think?
Surprise, surprise. The banks have more money than the people that I do, certainly.
Well, I know it's kind of strange that, years ago you go into a bank and all they would offer is just CDs. And then lately, the last 20 years or something, you go in there and now they're offering, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, et cetera.
Reads everything.
Everything, yeah. And the consumer, though, I think is still confused, even though you have to sign a whole bunch of paperwork stating, I know this is not a deposit. I know it's not FDIC insured. And yet people, I still think, I'm in the bank, it must be safe.
So we're talking with Dan Roberts, who's running for Congress, and the district or the seat that you're running for again, what's
The
that?
2nd Congressional District. It's a 6-county seat. We're in Sonoma, Humboldt, Mendocino, Del Norte, Trinity.
And you're one of 2 people running, and as I understand, you're running as a Republican, but that's not what you would call yourself or you affiliate yourself. Is that correct?
No, I'm more of an independent reformer, so I come out of the Ross Perot. I was concerned 1974, right, when Ross ran, about the level of debt. So I'm concerned today as it was then, more concerned today.
All right. You have a couple more questions.
Yeah, no, I wanted to jump to this one real quick. Given your industry experience, and again, this is my business I'm in. I know you're in it as well. What changes need to happen right away in the next 2 years? I'd say is a time frame, because sometimes congressional races only measured in that vein because of the re-election process and who controls Congress. What can happen in the next 2 years to again bring what we need as a country and pay down the debt at the same time? There's certain services we do need and certain things we don't need. I understand that point, but what changes can happen, and is it obtainable? Like Representative Ryan, the vice presidential candidate, say right now, well, we can do it all. We can control spending, not raise taxes, and be okay. I mean, are you in favor of that type of view, or what would you do?
If you look closer at Ryan's plan, he doesn't balance the budget for about 20 or 30 years. So that's not doable. That's not an answer. I would say roll back spending to '08 levels, and then cut 1% a year. We can balance the budget in a matter of a few years. So as I say, there's a moral problem here, spending the unborn's money, which is not sustainable.
Well, a question for you: how much power for the congressional seat that you're running for will you have?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a
Thank
very
you.
good.
Thank you
I
very
bring
much.
that up on the road every time. I will sit in the majority in the House. How is that? I will actually have input. I will actually be on some good committees. If you're a Democrat, if they give it to the Democrat, he's going to be what they call a backbencher. You know what that is? Huh? They throw bombs from way far away with little impact.
The more you control, the more appointed you get. Let me ask you another question, going along with my line of thinking. America's lost its AA or AAA credit ratings. Now we're now AA, and given what you just discussed with us, the opportunity, as you mentioned, to pay down the debt, is that obtainable? Is it a real goal that we can see in our lifetimes? And what would it take to make that happen?
Well, the House, bless those folks that came in the House in 10, because they have held the spenders' feet to the fire. But unfortunately, the Senate is gridlocked. That's where the problem is. So there's no appropriations bills that have been passed by the Senate. They don't have a budget in 3 years. That is not sustainable.
Okay, guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial break, and before we do, last week we had a special trivia question where the winner was going to win an overnight stay at the Four Seasons Hotel in San Francisco. At the Four Seasons Hotel in San Francisco, you can take in lush gardens, sample vineyards, and see the latest in contemporary art, all without having to leave the hotel. The Four Seasons Hotel in San Francisco provides luxury accommodations where you can choose a massage, reflexology, aromatherapy, wraps, and other treatments designed to soothe and pamper. That's what we need right now, soothing and pampering. In the lounge, you can unwind at the bar in front of a toasty fireplace, sipping your favorite martini. Ah, the ambience. Call them at 415-633-3000 or check them out on the web at www.fourseasons.com/San Francisco. And here was the question. Almost 10% of us will do this in 2012. What is it? Anyone?
No idea.
Change insurance companies
Oh.
Can you believe that? 10%. 10%.
Warren Buffett's betting on that with owning Geico.
All right. All right. And congratulations, George, in Walnut Creek. Okay, here is our first commercial break. Here's our first trivia question. And remember, the theme is uncle. Uncle. Cry uncle. Okay. Name this uncle who was portrayed by John Candy in the movies. In fact, I think, as I remember correctly, I think the name of the movie was this. Okay. The first three, and I never actually saw the movie, but the first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Name this uncle who was portrayed by John Candy in the movies. 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, your email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your information for us one letter at a time, and we'll be right back. Okay.
Excellent.
So we're at commercial break right now.
Oh.
So
Having fun?
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
All right. So
I am.
as long as Kramer's having fun,
Yeah,
that's the important
Heck
thing.
with you guys.
So when you take this, it's a full Channel 2 sound stage. You put you blue screen this thing?
no. This is
Yeah.
That would be
that's about as
great.
glamorous
Yeah.
as it gets.
Yeah, come on, Kramer. How come you don't do that?
Want us to raise
do
the-
that.
want us to raise the shades? We get a little bit more ambience for you.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. I've been front and center on Channel 2.
Yeah.
They gave me 5 minutes free.
Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Well, I guess they have
I've
to
been
do
there.
that. They have to do that for.
Yeah.
It's like the
No,
station
no,
here.
they want to.
They want to. No offense, no. That,
No,
that,
no,
Can't you get on like 810 and 560 and some of the major news stations? Don't they like interview all the other AM
They
stations?
haven't
News?
invited me.
Really?
They have not invited me.
Surprised.
And I don't follow
you have
the
to call
other
them and
guys.
tell them because by law, the FCC, if I'm not mistaken, because every time there's an election,
Yeah.
there is
Yeah, both
this.
sides have to be
Right,
they just
and
have to
some of
do a
the
lot-
some of the
Well,
daily
You know,
some of the daily talk show
I love the way
hosts
that
will
dangles.
the
really
spider
get into it.
just dropped down there.
Yeah.
No, there's no fairness doctrine. It went away, so that no longer applies.
Really?
Melody Morgan.
Can I borrow your sheet?
She's good. I like Melanie Morgan.
Oh, you want?
No,
Want this one?
No, Mark's.
Okay.
No, I got it.
Oh,
This
yes.
is my ladder.
He's gonna elevate here.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
That's right, Melanie Morgan used to.
Yeah, but
Try
she
to
got
interview all
herself
of them.
in hot water. She was too emotional about it. So she went away for about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
She's
Is that-
back now. She used to bring veterans on. I wish she'd give me some time, but she won't anymore. She's been slapped.
How about
Away
the
from
lady
being
that does
veterans?
Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon on KGO?
Political shows.
Barbara, Babe in the Bunker. What's her
Oh,
name
yeah.
again? Barbara, she's on 560
She can be
Hot Talk
tough
on
like
Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can be very tough.
CM will take you. Have you heard of CM?
That's what
GM.
That's what we're
GM, Comcast, right?
Oh yeah, no, I've been over there.
Yeah.
On not too far away from here. They have a
Right.
little studio.
That's right.
I've been. They did a nice Stretch. What's his name? Strict. He's the interviewer. He's a lawyer in town. Strict.
Yeah.
He interviewed me. It was a nice show.
Yeah.
He interviewed all the primary candidates.
Yeah.
It was a good show. I liked what he did.
Yeah, next week we're doing Mr. X. I won't mention his name.
Well, I'm going there also, but maybe another different time.
Yeah, I don't think, different
Oh,
time.
Peter B. Collins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter
Oh,
D.
we're
Collins.
both gonna be there.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'll see you
Right, Phyllis will tell you. Yeah. Oh, you gonna take that?
Yeah, we know Peter.
Yeah. Do
Peter's
on
on
that
board
show.
with the
Do,
side, but we love him anyway.
and powder
like
my
you.
nose. They
You
powder
know
my
from
nose.
What's that?
Tiburon, right? Is it the Tiburon?
Yeah.
It's NFL.
Yeah,
NFL?
Yes, yeah.
That was
Studio's a
Carter
couple blocks
B.
away.
Smith lived in Tiburon.
Looks
Yeah,
like this.
that's different. Peter B. Smith is
Okay.
Carter's famous.
Okay, next segment.
You want to talk about
Medicare
Dodd-Frank or?
Medicare versus Obamacare.
Oh, there we go.
Oh. No, let's not talk. Is this an investment show or an
Yeah.
insurance show?
Well, how about
I can
that?
answer that.
How about Dodd-Frank? Is that like
That's
a
fine.
top five
Dodd-Frank's at
business?
Glass-Steagall, though. That's, it's,
There's more than.
Dodd-Frank is like the pork barrel of all pork barrels, full of everything.
I vote for you. Let's bring
I
it.
know.
I mean, I know how many new laws have been passed in the name of Dodd-Frank that have affected like
Right, the
mortgage
mortgage,
lending.
yeah,
And
right.
just- it's
Let's
just
talk.
crazy.
I can talk. Let's do that.
Okay.
That's good.
be prepared for the Obamacare question. Remember, we're Marin County.
I know you got to be careful. You know, there's too many people people who are
This
looking
is-
forward to their
this is-
free 100% everything paid medical.
Yeah,
What, I have a client
Doesn't
that,
cost anything.
I can't go
It's
after
free.
them too hard.
The millionaires
People
are paying
like
for it.
free things.
yeah,
They like the free things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like free things too.
I have a client who's put his whole company on the healthcare exchange in San Francisco. It's just cheaper. Gives him a voucher. It's like, cakewalk.
Okay, guys, ready? So go 5 seconds of silence. If you have to cough, sure, just that or burp. Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hoff of Pacific Private Money and Lou Botmal of LPL Financial. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Name this uncle who was portrayed by John Candy in the movies. Anyone?
Buck.
Uncle
Buck.
Buck. That is correct. Okay, we are in the studio here with Dan Roberts, who is running for Congress. And although he's running for on the Republican ticket, you're not actually a Republican. You're more of an independent.
Independent reform.
My kind of guy. Okay, Lou, you had a great question you were going to ask.
I just wanted to touch on real quick, 'cause it's a polarizing issue, but the Obamacare and Medicare issues that are coming up. I know Republicans have a certain theory. You probably have your own. But what's really going on here, and how's this going to end up is really the question.
We don't know. You tell me who's going to win the presidency and the Senate, and I can give you some answers. But I start from a point that, let's go back to when we were discussing Obamacare. Really, insurance is a state's issue. It's not a federal government issue. It belongs with the states. Romney did something in Massachusetts, which is entirely able to do, and I think California should have a shot at it. One size fits all may not work. It's a state's issue.
Talking, there's another law that's been talked about a lot. People always hear the reference to Dodd-Frank, which was a huge bill full of tons and tons of new legislation that was passed a couple of years ago. And I'm a hard money loan broker, and I know my particular business has been impacted severely by lots and lots of new regulations. And what's your thoughts on that? And what
Franken-Dodd.
what kind of
that's what we used to call it.
what kind of work would you do towards some of that legislation? I think many of the laws haven't even been written yet, based on some of what was passed in that huge bill.
I'll answer that by saying that the law has been written, but the regs have not been written.
That's
Right.
the
And so
regulations. Yes.
Right, I'm a part and parcel of that because I work with the SEC and FINRA on this subject. So there's tens of thousands of pages of new regulations. All it's done is to increase the cost, be passed on to the consumers eventually through the corporations or through taxations. So it's increased the size of the bureaucracy. One particular issue under Dodd-Frank is that they passed a lot of measures down to the SEC for rule making, right? One of which is the fiduciary rule, and I'm sure you're affected by this as well, right?
Absolutely.
And so they've tried to create a dual fiduciary. You can't be a dual fiduciary.
Can't serve two masters, right?
That's right. You can't wear the same hat at the same time. I underwrite bonds and I sell bonds retail. I cannot be a dual fiduciary on that. So it'll either take me out of the underwriting, which I would not like to do because I create product. I'm about capital formation in my business. But they have no idea about what a dual fiduciary is about. It came out of this Dodd-Frank Act. They have no idea.
So you mentioned you are a small business owner, but you're also a military veteran, and you're one of the few military veterans running for Congress these days. Isn't that true?
Oh, there in California, yes. Nationwide, no. But in this race, I'm the only veteran who ran in the primary, and I'm the only veteran running now. So the point is, my argument might be made that maybe somebody that wants to run, ought to qualify to run by serving our country before they run.
Well, not only that, but just having a businessman, the country is a business, basically. I think you need a businessman to run the country. Are you a
I'll
businessman?
answer that. Of course, after 26 years, I've owned my own firm. So if we need a country Congress that can balance the budget, learn how to create real jobs, not government jobs, right?
Yeah.
And not more free money. Those days are over. Then you need a businessman. That's the point.
But that's the thing is, you get these career politicians where their job is just to keep getting reelected.
Right,
And-
fundraise.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not exactly like that.
No, I'm not. At my age, I'm a senior, so I'm on the same page as all seniors. But don't worry about term limits with me. You don't need it. I'm not going to be there for 20 years, I don't think.
Are you in favor of the McCain reform on fundraising for campaigns?
I'm afraid, well, Citizens United has blown a lot of that away, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
the money is wide open, but they haven't come to me yet. I'm waiting for them to call me. The money hasn't happened yet. So
Yeah, that's right.
waiting for that.
You've only spent, what, 160,000?
I spent 180 in the primary, mostly my money against 3 million spent against me, so ideas do resonate.
Well, that's the thing. Is so what do you think happened? Is people kind of could see through all that, and did they vote against the other guy, or did they know enough about you to vote for you? You know what I mean?
I attracted the conservative vote. I'm running as a conservative, and there was enough block there to carry me over the finish line. They don't call me landslide for nothing. I won by 173 votes out of 200,000.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's like one of those recount things that you have to do about 10
Yeah.
times.
Hanging Chad.
Oh, jeez, don't bring that
Dan,
up.
how much more difficult is it for someone like yourself, who's an experienced businessman, to run against someone who, as your opponent is a career politician? Isn't the deck stacked for the career politicians in this environment?
I'll answer by saying if money is speech, and I believe it is, that I start with a huge disadvantage, because the career politician, or one who's been in the assembly for 6 years in a failed state and a failed assembly, does not need a promotion, no name mentioned, and begins with the staff and infrastructure, right?
Yeah, but
And connections.
Well, that's the thing. Is you would think that there'd be the old, throw all the bums out type of thing.
Well, that's why they passed term limits, and so I wonder.
That's Sacramento, though. That's
you-
only Sacramento.
That's true.
Yeah.
But do you think in California term limits have worked?
I don't think they have. I think what it's done is given the staff most of the power in California, in my opinion, because the knowledgeable legislators have come and gone, right? And who stays? The staff.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think I think the intent was good, but the outcome is not so good.
They just tried to get rid of Willie Brown. That's really what it's all about.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, after failing as hall monitor in recess in third grade, I figured politics, forget it. I'm not going to go there. It's not for me.
But sometimes people have to step up. Right? If the need is great enough, right?
Well, that's what I was gonna
Sacrifices need to be
say.
made.
How did you get into this?
I was incensed by Obamacare. I was incensed by the product and the process. The statement, oh, you've got to pass this before you can know what's into it. That's total. Imagine that. That's nonsense. But the people
Don't worry,
bought it.
we'll fill in the blanks later on.
Well, that's what
Trust us, Dan. Trust us.
That's what they're doing now, by the way, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. But I say to that issue, if the people of California, the second district, elect me, I will go back there to be their watchdog. I'm going to represent the taxpayers and the ratepayers, right? And not the people that have owned politicians for years.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dan. We're talking to Dan Roberts, who's running in the 2nd Congressional District, which, when is election day? November 6th. November 6th. Very good.
It's a Tuesday.
Thank you. Yeah, it's usually a coincidence. It seems to always fall on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to cut to our second commercial break, and before we do, we actually have another promotion coming up next week, believe it or not. And the winner is going to receive an overnight stay at the Fairmont in Sonoma Mission Inn. And for over 85 years, the Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn has catered to discriminating travelers and has given prestige to the Sonoma Valley. Known for casually elegant accommodations, sensational cuisine, healing thermal mineral waters, luxurious spa baths, and world-class golf, the inn will soon unveil 30 newly renovated signature mission suites along with new premier winemaker suite, aptly titled the Jack London. From the moments guests arrive, they'll find themselves immersed in the grace befitting one of Northern California's finest resorts. Building on the inn's historic legacy inspired the design plan, the new suites will respect the inn's mission-style architecture, successfully capturing the essence and beauty of the wine country. www.fairmont.com/Sonoma. Check them out.
I've stayed there. It's gorgeous.
It's a beautiful place. And we're going to cut to our second commercial break. Here is the second commercial question, and it has to do with being, quote, uncle. Now, you have to be a little bit older to know this one. What was the name of the uncle on the TV show Bewitched? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What was the name of the uncle on the TV show Bewitched? Call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your information for us, one letter at a time. And again, remember, next week is going to be the Fairmont contest, but this question has to do with the lighthouse. So, again, what was the name of the uncle on the TV show Bewitched? And we'll be right back. Good.
Did it? Did it wrap?
That is it.
Good, thank you. That was fun.
Good.
And unfortunately, my youth was misspent because I didn't watch these television shows.
I did watch
I was reading white papers in position. Thank you.
Me, I was getting
Good
fired
luck
from
to
being
you
a
in your
hall
business.
monitor.
Thanks. Okay.
Get here,
Yeah.
good. The hall monitor, that's a good
You
line.
like that one? Yeah, you know what? It's one of those
Nice
things
to
you
meet
always
you.
have
Nice
to.
to
Good luck.
meet you.
Best of luck
Thank
for
you
you.
very much.
We'll help.
You gotta
There
have.
you go.
Got 3
yeah,
more.
hopefully.
Okay, okay,
Dan,
good.
very nice
There you
meeting you.
go, good. Can I call in on, I want to go to the Fairmont. We've stayed there and I love it. By the
Well, you
way,
know what the question is.
She knows.
I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta listen next week for the question.
Nice to see you.
Tuesday.
Thank you. See you then.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye now. You have my hat?
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye bye.
Oh, yeah. Bewitched. That was.
Bewitched,
My
and
wife
I
was
Dream
watching-
of Jeannie, and
Yeah.
Oh, I dream
My wife-
of oh, Barbara.
Lost
She
in
lived in San
Space.
Francisco, huh?
Barbara Eden did?
Yeah.
Really?
There's even rumors of she owned a place in Tahoe.
Man, she was
Yeah.
one sweet baby.
It's hot.
Bewitched was Elizabeth Montgomery was
Yeah.
nice too.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
She, who was the uncle in that one? Is that the one Paul Lynde played?
Yes.
Yeah, I forget the name.
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck again. Yeah, the answer is Uncle Buck for every one of these.
Yeah.
Do you want to just move over to this one? We'll just
Yeah.
and we'll put this one back by over.
That's a better mic, I think.
Thanks, Ed.
Moving on back.
Something
You're
about
very
that.
welcome.
Thank you.
Right, cut it. Hello.
Great. Looks like kids told me don't wear the pen in your pocket. You should look a dork.
That's all hard to
Actually,
see, I
yes.
think.
Thanks for the input.
Actually, I should give you one of those plastic things.
Yeah, the plastic pocket protectors.
Yeah.
You know, I realized the other day is we forgot to celebrate on air our 100th show, which I don't know which one it was, but I'm
Wow,
assuming we
that's
went over our
true,
100th
'cause you've
show
been on
because
for
we
a while.
started in
Yeah.
August of 10, right?
Well, we say it on the air now. Yeah, that's
How was that meeting you guys did down in San Mateo at the expo? Did it go up well?
Oh, it was
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Great
they were-
networking. I got a ton of great connections.
Yeah.
Some business, both in terms of,
About 400 people.
yeah, I got some investors, I got some borrowers, and I got some sources of capital, so that's like all three, and brokerage capital. So guys that do, different types of loans that can dovetail off the stuff I do. So good, it was great.
Should I be taking down that mirror? That mirror doesn't really help, does it? I mean, do
I
people
don't know.
look into
My head's kind of big.
Well, but I mean, you know, the whole idea of looking
Yeah.
to see him. You
It
know.
makes it really interesting on television. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Well, leave
Does
it
it?
at
Okay.
Yeah,
Otherwise, all they see is my bald spot from the back.
yeah, and I'm trying to be good to you.
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
need to
to.
like do a comb over.
What are we doing coming to the next one? You want to do the
Is it email
call
time?
it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't you get that spray stuff?
Yeah.
That puts metallic shavings in your head,
Metallic shavings? Okay, good.
or whatever it is.
Yes.
It's
Oh, yes, Mark, I forgot. The email we received for you was, I talked to a hard money lender last month and he wanted to charge me an upfront fee. Do you do the same? That guy must have gotten screwed. Okay.
And then, so we'll do, next we're doing,
Will you email time?
yeah, email time.
Okay.
And then, yeah, because I had this thing on quantitative easing if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about quantitative easing.
Also, I've got this thing here, Luther Burbank takes $2 million discrimination settlement. You heard about that?
No, let's talk about
Bank says loans were targeting high net worth borrowers, so they had the
Well,
Justice.
boy.
Yeah, I know. The Justice Department alleged the institution discriminated by enforcing a $400,000 minimum loan amount for its wholesale single-family resident mortgage loan program.
stupid.
Well, how's it this? Yeah, it's discriminating against not
It's a
lower than
product.
400,000. It's not a person
Who's
discriminating.
that guy out there that went belly up? Crivelli or
Carnelli.
Carnelli.
Clem Carnelli.
And did that ever go anywhere? Where is it now? I mean, he had investors that were involved. And
He's
everything.
bankrupt, broke, and as is about 5,000 of his investors who lost their life savings, and he went from being the largest single landowner in Sonoma County to God knows what he is today. I don't know what he's doing.
He could recoup any money though, huh?
Well, some.
Even
You know,
Madoff.
It
got
depends
some
on which
money.
loans they were in, or if they were in a fund. The fund, of course, might have only returned pennies on the dollar, or not at all. So,
Because they had to transact the real estate, right?
What, was he a hard money lender?
It was hard money, and then he owned a lot of the business himself, right? Yeah.
he was a
I mean,
hard money lender.
Sonoma State gave him money.
Yeah.
That was in the paper. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, but that's why you gotta have it secured. That's
Yeah.
that's why I like one-on-one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people just can't trust. Okay. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my co-host, Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing private lender, and Lou Botmal of LPL Financial. And when we cut to before we cut to the second commercial break question, Mark was reminding me that we have celebrated our 100th show. Been on the air for over 2 years.
Our
Yeah,
100th
amazing.
Best of Investing show.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Throw the confetti. That's it.
The confetti, exactly.
Thank you, listeners, who've been with us
It's the
for
end
a
of the
while.
convention.
Yeah. Okay, here, the trivia theme was the word uncle. And what was the name of the uncle on the TV show Bewitched?
Uncle Buck.
Not Uncle Buck again.
Guy by the center square.
Can you find the center square? No, it was Uncle Arthur.
Uncle Arthur.
Played by Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde. He was a center square.
He was
That's
a center
right.
square. That
Yes.
is correct. Oh, that's correct.
Hollywood
Okay, that's
Squares.
what you're. I
That's
thought
right.
you were
I
like
watched
buying
that
a
one,
vowel
too.
or something. Okay, we're gonna get right into email time.
Can I get credit for that now? Can I say the
Yeah,
lighthouse?
that's true. Exactly. Okay, Mark, we got an email from a listener who said, I talked to a hard money lender last month, but he wanted to charge me an upfront fee. Does your company do the same?
Well, the answer to that is no. And for new listeners, my name is Mark Hunt, and I am president of Pacific Private Money Loans. We're based in Marin County, and we are a hard money or private money lender. And one of the things that, one of the reasons why I decided to name my company Pacific Private Money as opposed to Pacific Hard Money or something like that, is the hard money lending industry years ago kind of had a different reputation. It was a different style of mortgage loan originator, and it was generally considered to be, the money of last resort. People who were desperate, or there was something distressed about the borrower, or oftentimes they couldn't get money from the banks, and so they'd go to the hard money lender. It was very, very expensive to get, and some of the people who were in that line of work were less than scrupulous, and so things like upfront fees and bait and switch on terms. A lot of that stuff was pretty common, but nowadays a lot of those guys went out of business when the real estate market, financial markets, went sideways in 2007, 2008, and so companies like mine that are new, we formed Pacific Private Money in 2008, and so we just passed our 4-year anniversary, and we've made over 400 loans to real estate investors in Northern California for the purpose of buying, fixing, and flipping property or collecting rental property. So generally speaking, we are now filling a niche that, unlike 10 years ago when people who couldn't borrow from banks, which was a very small slice, would go to a hard money lender and deal with that situation. Nowadays, it's the real estate investment community who the banks are no longer serving, or they're not serving them today. So the private money and hard money loan sector has grown in the last several years, and it's really a different type of industry today. So the good hard money lenders, the good private money lenders, they're not charging any upfront fees. So if you find a lender on Google or the internet or Craigslist or wherever, and they tell you that they need a good faith deposit or an upfront fee, you should run for the hills, because that's not what's that's, in my opinion, it's not what's proper.
So I guess in your case, you don't have to charge them because you keep your fees and everything low enough to where you give the borrower a good deal.
Well, I mean,
I mean, you still take the risk that they
first
might
of all,
not take the loan.
the Department of Real Estate frowns on upfront fees to begin with. So it's really gray area at best and illegal at worst to charge an upfront fee. So for that reason, certainly I stay away from it. But more often than that, I just like the idea that more often than not, we're able to help the client, and we're upfront with them if we can. So really, and one more thing about the upfront fees is that oftentimes they're kind of hidden. For example, I oftentimes talk to people in the Bay Area who contact a Southern California private lender because they're advertising, extremely low rates or good rates relative to what other companies will quote. And once they hook you in and they get your application and all that, and they tell you, well, okay, well, you have to pay us a due diligence fee, or we're going to fly up and look at the property. You need to pay for our travel and all of that. And so they start to kind of hook you in. You pay some monies, then they fly up, they look at the property, right? And then they look at it, and all of a sudden the loan terms are, well, that doesn't really qualify for our 7.99% rate, but we'll do it for 12.5% at 5 points. And I swear to God, this happens all the time. And I get a ton of business from people who call me. They're 3 weeks in on a 30-day contract, and they're going down the road with a Southern California lender for this great price, and all of a sudden find out that they either pulled out completely or the rate and terms completely changed. And so they'll call me up, and I'll have literally 7 or 10 days, sometimes it's 5 days to close a loan, and they're desperate.
And you can still do it.
And we can still do it, yeah. So
that's good.
Don't pay any upfront fees.
Okay, and how do people how to get in touch with you to not pay any upfront fees?
For more information about our loan products for real estate investors, go to pacificprivatemoney.com. That's all one word, pacificprivatemoney.com. You can call us also at 415-883-2150, or go visit the Best of Investing. Actually, is our new website up yet, or soon to be
it
up?
is. People can still go to bestofinvesting.com.
All right,
and
good.
Check it out there. And also
Fancy new website coming.
That's right. And people can also email questions there. And also, if there are investors who'd like to get a good rate of return, you can also contact Mark for that.
Absolutely.
Lou, we got an email from a listener who says, "I'm looking for a new financial advisor. What should I look for when interviewing for one?"
Somebody with hair.
Yes.
He's got a great head of hair.
Yeah,
So you
that's
can't
true.
tell.
Good-looking guy. Yeah.
I'm jealous.
I was out with somebody today. I go, "Who's got a comb?" They all look to be funny. So okay. Essentially, this is a great question because it really gets down to one item. That is, so many people are paid differently in our industry. I mean, you say the word financial advisor, and you get several different opinions. It could be an insurance-based advisor, a stock-based advisor, an annuity-based advisor. They have certain nuances or things they do. So what you want to do is say, hey, first question, what's your process? The next question I like to tell investors to always ask them, can I get my money back? Wow, that's a novel idea, isn't it? Because what happens is a lot of people get these investments and they're like, oh, it looks really good on paper.
Yeah.
It could be an annuity-based interest rate or some other things, and they go, oh, your money's locked up for 4, 5, 7 years sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't like people getting in that trap. I work as a fee-only advisor, which means when people give you their money, they can have it back the next day. That happened with a trust problem a few weeks ago where someone misplaced a trust document and they gave me the wrong one and we had to change the title. So, hey, there's no fees to change. Not a big deal. So, but some people work on a commission base, some work on a fee base. Again, insurance products come with some surrender fees. So, how do they work? What's their process? Can I get my money back? What's your outlook? And does it agree with yours? I mean, this is the tough thing right now. Everyone wants to buy bonds and stay in the sand with their heads and say, I don't want to do anything. And say, are there opportunities out there? Are there companies that might come around? Apple's up 70% this year. I don't think it's a buy recommendation at this point. It's just a stock I'm representing that, hey, it's gone up a lot. If that's gone up so much, what's the next thing that could go up, or what's the next sector that could go up? Start asking those questions and engage them, and keep engaging them. The problem with engaging new financial advisors, you have to stay on top of them. You got to call them. You have to hassle them every other day, like some of my clients do. But you do have to sit there and say, hey, let's talk every month, or let's talk every 3 months, or I want to come to your office. That's very, very poignant because you want to sit there as things change and say, look, I'm not comfortable with this. I was with a client the other day, and she goes, look, I need to be more aggressive. I'm working towards retirement here, Lou. I'm not working towards preserving all my capital. So let's change our thinking and not look for the next shoe to drop, but look for what the next encouraging opportunity
let me add one little caveat, because one of your questions you said, to get your money back. And,
Right.
I'm assuming that you're not guaranteeing anything, because
No.
people can lose principal. So
Absolutely.
they have to know that it's not FDIC insured.
No, it's not. No, my
I think
intention.
you meant to say it was liquid.
It's liquid, and my intention is this: that there are certain investment products that have a thing called a surrender fee on them. Okay, and those surrender fees can stay around for a year, 2, 3, 4, up to 7 years. So before you make that decision, I'm not saying that doesn't work, but maybe for a portion of a portfolio it does.
Sure.
But some people sit there, I'm going to lock all this money up. It happens a lot with retirees. Here's my $1 million. Okay, I put it in 4 different annuities. Some surrender very soon, in the next year and a half, and some surrender 4 or 7 years down the road. Hey, that's great. Is that what you want?
I just wanted to make sure the listening audience
Yeah.
understood that.
Getting your money back is important when you discuss investing because in the end, things do happen. I mean, one thing I discuss about financial planning is I can write you a beautiful financial plan. It's going to be outdated in 5 years. That's when you need to update it.
I remember the old days, $5,000 plans. You're going to have exactly 3.2 kids in exactly 6.4 years based on, and it's like, come on, this is useless.
Right, totally. And that's the biggest thing you run into is there's extraordinary expenses that occur in retirement. You might need a new roof. You need a new car. I have some clients, their kids move back in with them. Their financial situation has changed, and this economy's done it to a lot of us, and it's unfortunate, but 8.1% unemployment and low interest rates.
My 8-year-old, she came back to live with me. No, I'm just kidding. She's not.
Pop-Tarts cost a lot. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Lou, how do people get a hold of you if they have more questions about choosing a financial advisor and how do you work and all that?
Right, and people don't have to work with me to make a phone call. I want to make that perfectly clear. I said that twice, but the objective here is if you have questions, just call me at 415-256-8970. Again, 415-256-8970. And email works too. Some people do email me. Louis, Louis. There's a period there. Last name Batmale, Batmale @lpl.com. Okay.
All right, we're going to cut to our third and final trivia question commercial break, and the theme is Uncle.
Uncle Buck.
No, again, it's not.
Is that Family Guy again? Are you going back to Family Guy?
Yeah. I love Family Guy the musical. That was so funny last week. For the listening audience, last week, Mark was very, very funny. You'll have to listen to the podcast. Okay, name the uncle who was married to Auntie M in The Wizard of Oz. Do you remember what Uncle's name was? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Name the uncle who was married to Auntie M. Auntie M, I guess is technically what it should be. In The Wizard of Oz, make sure to include your name, your email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your information for us 1 letter at a time.
I got a problem. All this stuff was in black and white. I just want to say that for the record.
Well, no, they eventually, remember, part of it was black and white.
But
And
they updated. I'm just saying all these questions relate to black and white stuff except for the first one. I just want to say that for the record.
Well, no, don't you remember that it's she opens it up,
She goes
they
to
switch.
Oz.
Yeah, she opens up to Oz after the thing and whatever.
He's
and
too
then
young to remember.
color.
I never even watched them.
I saw it only in color. I don't know what you guys are talking
There you
about.
go.
Was that in The Wiz?
Okay.
No.
All right, we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Sorry.
That's funny.
You don't remember Nixon, probably because you were too young, but he was a fan of that because you were saying Nixon. I was about to say, okay, Nixon.
Well,
Yeah.
they had the special on HBO about Gloria Steinem and Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting about Nixon's like, why'd they ask me that freaking question about Ms. or Mrs.? What does that mean? Who cares? And it was like, he was in, he was right there with him.
He was
Was
nasty.
Cheney and who's the guy who ran the Defense Department for
Rumsfeld.
Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
Those guys were right there next to him. They were like 30 years old, and they were just egomaniacal, just like control. Like and Nixon's whole thing was, I don't have enough power. I don't get why I don't have more power. I'm the king. It's just like, I'm not a crook. I'm the king.
Yeah.
I am not a crook.
Did he not pay taxes, or was that
Perfect.
No.
was that Agnew that didn't pay taxes?
Agnew.
Agnew,
Agnew
yeah.
didn't pay taxes.
Spiral Agnew. Played
Yeah.
football.
Spiral Agnew.
How much
Both
time do we
those
have left?
guys were just clowns.
We'll check this out a minute. Yeah, that's the thing is, Nixon didn't get any respect. It was like Rodney Dangerfield.
Well, I don't know that he deserved it because
That's
he was
the thing.
kind of. The guy. Even from his earliest days, he was the kid that everybody else
Kicked around, right?
Yeah.
You won't have Nixon to kick around anymore.
Yeah, he was. He was
He's the
the
vice
vice
president
He was,
candidate, right? For his vice president.
he was the king of nerds.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He let's see. He had you had Kennedy.
He ran against
He ran
Kennedy
against Kennedy,
and lost.
but he was vice president, I guess.
Under Eisenhower, yeah.
Yeah.
Eisenhower didn't respect him. 5 cents.
But I don't think most vice presidents get
Have you seen the show Veep with Julia Louis-Dreyfus? It's pretty
that
funny.
is just hilarious.
It is pretty funny.
No,
Does the
I
president want to talk to me? No. Message from the White House? Shut up.
I know, that's just,
It's pretty. It's just.
she's so
This whole
pathetic.
thing because they do have that alternate residence where the vice president is. They're like the other side of D.C. and it's like okay, but it's very cool. You always get to. I'm gonna get ice cream. Okay, let's go. Alert the motorcade. The hounds. How much time do we have left?
I'm trying to figure that out now.
Should be that close to 10.
Hold on here. Oh, that's. Well,
Gotta carry the
I
one.
was thinking I'm all, we got 1 minute left. I go, that doesn't make sense. 10 plus 9 is 19, not 29, by the way, just in case you guys were confused.
Sounds like my wife bouncing the checkbook.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were products of new math.
Yes.
We came out with new math.
Metric system. How many centimeters is that?
I think that you gotta be old enough to remember when they tried to convert everything over
Yeah.
unsuccessfully.
How come wine's still in milliliters? I don't get it.
Oh.
That's true.
I think it's a cheaper way of doing it. It's kind of like those. They talked about the other day on CNBC. It's about repackaging and becoming more profitable. Selling a Coke needs to be like 11.7 ounces because they make so much extra money in that 0.7. Or
Oh,
3 tenths.
ounce,
Three,
yeah,
yeah,
3 tenths of an ounce, yeah, multiplied by 20 billion, and it's real money.
It's all marketing.
Okay. Hold on here. 19, 20 minutes and 30 seconds plus 12 minutes and 30 seconds is 32.
Need your minutes calculator.
Whenever you have more than 60 seconds, you got a problem.
Pretty sure that's right. Okay, yeah, I got it right. 9 minutes, 50 seconds.
That sounds about
Yeah.
right, yeah.
You know where interest rates are going to? Can you tell us that in the air?
Okay, so a couple things you wanted to cover was.
I can do it real quick on the quantitative easing just to discuss this is the best
I was
investing.
wondering why you do that.
Why?
Sound
I'll
check.
show you when you come to my office. Because the soundtracks, 2 cameras, you have to line up the soundtracks perfectly.
Oh.
When
Otherwise-
you switch camera to camera,
like that.
you're way off. So you have to, so you look for,
Hi there.
so you look for a spike,
Oh,
and you have two soundtracks, one from each.
so
you-
if I go like that, that's not good.
Go ahead, be my guest. Go ahead.
That'll come out really great in the broadcast. Here's
Oh,
Ed's.
no.
Here's Edward's foot.
Yeah.
Here's the back of Edward's head.
Yeah. And who's the man from Uncle? Robert Culp?
Robert Culp.
Culp?
Oh, wait, the man from Uncle?
Yeah, who was the man?
That's a TV show.
Ilya Kuryakin and Robert Vaughn.
Jeez, you're good.
I know. It's,
Whoa.
That's like
Unfortunately,
I'm
375.
concerned for you.
I know. Listen. My brother. I told you about the story. My brother and I sat down. We were bored one day, and we named 108 Gilligan's Island episodes.
Oh my God.
That's a problem.
I know.
That is-
That's
That
something to be
was.
proud
We were
of.
proud of it. And then we go, this isn't good.
You're not well.
Okay, you
Gilligan
remember the
loses
one
his
with
head.
Eva Gabor? Yes. You remember the one with Phil Silvers? Yes. And, that's how we did it.
Thurston Howell III.
That's right.
Love it.
Oh, love it. Yeah, that's right. Harold Hecuba. That was the Phil Silvers one. Okay. So,
You're a sick man.
Musky. Let's go. Okay, ready? Let's hit it. Oh, it's the nights. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Humph and Lou Botmall. When we cut to the third and final commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Name the uncle who was married to Auntie M in The Wizard of Oz. And it's not Uncle Buck this time.
No.
Come on. Think.
I've only seen it 100 times. But I can't remember.
Uncle Henry.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what they do with the
that's-
beard in there? Yeah, he's got the big beard.
And a pipe smoking, corn pipe thing.
I saw the operetta, sorry.
The opera, yes. Okay, it was in black and white, but it was also in color. Okay, Lou, you've got something about quantitative easing 3.
I wanted to talk about
Sounds like a disease. Go ahead.
I want to talk to listeners about all these headlines out there about quantitative easing, what it is, and the process involved, and how it might affect the markets in general.
many investors are now wondering, what's next, and should I allocate holdings to take advantage of the Fed buying one item over and over again? So, Mark, to your business, this is what happened with treasuries. They just start buying treasuries all the time. It floods the market, keeps interest rates very low. But the net effect of this money printing or money contracting business that the Fed's in, the economic conditions are weak, and they're just basically saying, hey, look, we need hiring to occur. We need a certain part of the economy to kind of get on track, and that part of the economy is housing. So it's strange, though. We are borrowing money so other people will spend it, kind of like what the political candidate was talking about earlier. So that's a little bit of a problem because the government, over time, will lose its valuation. When you print too much money,
Sure.
you lose value. So more inventories out there. Now, the good news is mortgage-backed securities are what's isolated to be purchased, which is great news because now we have a ready market for mortgage rates to stay low. People are going to keep on buying those. Basically, the government $40 billion a month for a while. They also said we're not going to raise interest rates until 2015. Low interest rates are around for a while. So these bonds already yield between 1% and 2%. So I don't know how much lower they can go. It's kind of like treasuries, how much lower they can go. When you calculate inflation, are you really getting any return? And that I don't know. That's kind of a tough question because we don't know where inflation is going. But right now commodities are low, so inflation's in place, mostly because China is a little bit unstable, weak.
A lot of people, everything's based on alternatives, so people are thinking, well, if I don't get 1%, but I want to keep my principal,
Right.
where should I invest? And then,
Exactly.
of course, they talk to Mark and find out they can earn, pretty conservatively 8% interest, and they go, holy smokes.
So, hang on a second. Let's break this down for a second. So, interest rates are already low. Mortgage rates are 3.5%. So, what's the practical goal of Bernanke in doing this new round of quantitative easing? What is he hoping is going to happen specifically in the marketplace?
Well, I think that the last quantitative 1 and 2 you refer to as stimulus. That's money that's injected directly into the economy. And what they're doing here specifically is they're saying we want mortgage rates or housing to remain stable or go up. They're really nervous that, because from an employment tool, I think there's stats out there, like I know in the automotive industry, 1 out of every 6 people is in the automotive industry. Look at housing between, what you do, conventional mortgage lenders, inspectors, salespeople, and the turnover of real estate, people who improve it and employ so much of this country, they think it could be a driver to really bring unemployment down. Now, interesting you asked that question because the one point I wanted to make, if I can jump there real quick, is, he kind of telegraphed this move. He's like, there's only there's only certain things I can do. But what he's really done here in the depths of everything, politically, he's put a ton of pressure on Congress, the Senate, and the President saying, it's your problem now. I've done my job. You guys keep on beating me up to do something. I've done it in a conservative fashion because it's just regulated to the mortgage industry and to telegraph the fact that interest rates won't go up until 2015. So now it's like, okay, the next step is yours. If we fall off this fiscal cliff, if you raise the tax on dividends, the tax on capital gains, whatever you might do, these are your decisions to make. He's not a political animal. He's completely independent. But it's now their job to get us over the hurdle. That's why the next, 100, even after election, 150 days are so critical to all these decisions we make. How companies will invest, how a lot of things will occur.
I was surprised to hear that statistic about 1 out of every 6 people is in the automotive type industry. And I know you're not talking about just building cars. It has to do with everything.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what it is for real estate.
Oh, it's huge. I think it's even more.
Well, and so just to get back to, what's the goal? Is the goal that banks are going to make more loans? It's that banks going to make lending easier? Because I don't see, and I'm not hearing that getting a bank loan is going to get easier, and I don't see or hear that banks are going to start making loans to real estate investors to buy investment property again. So I'm wondering what's
Which is good for you.
where's the stimulus happening? I mean,
Right. That's a great point. So, right, there's less people qualifying for loans. There's still people in foreclosure or loan modifications and all these programs that are basically are not working. That real estate that's not working. But again, back to the point, that's on the political side of the spectrum. They need to regulate banks so that they do start lending. They do start making things happen. They have to lower some of the restrictions that are out there with some of these banks. Their capital requirements are a little high. Things need to be fixed. Remember, AIG is still owned a lot by the government. There's a lot of things that are still owned by the government. So he's saying like this is going to bring a calmness. Everyone's going to settle. It's not a hey, let's jump in. Like, remember 2010 when this happened? Everybody jumped into the market because that was regular stimulus, that stimulus that goes throughout the whole economy. He's saying mortgage rates will be low as things get fixed, like unemployment, like the tax policy, like these things. We know the mortgage system will be attacked, so housing will continue on the trajectory of rising steadily, I think is the point. It's not jumping.
You know, I wanted to bring up one quick thing because you mentioned about housing and loans and all that, and I noticed that there was something in the paper that talked about Luther Burbank takes a $2 million discrimination settlement. Basically, it says here that the Justice Department alleged that the institution discriminated by enforcing a $400,000 minimum loan for its wholesale single-family residence mortgage program from 2006 to 2011. By enforcing the minimum loan amount for the loan program, the department alleges that the thrift policy had a disparate impact on the basis of race and national origin. I don't understand that.
So you're saying the loans are too high for people to qualify?
Well,
Loan
yeah,
amounts?
that's kind of making a blanket statement that people who are of color can't afford a $400,000 house. I mean, look at all those basketball players out there. I mean, I wouldn't just assume that everybody, you know, who's white can qualify for a $400,000 plus home.
Well, that just sounds like an ambulance chasing lawsuit to me. What I heard you say, and I'm not familiar with the lawsuit, but that bank apparently made a program for higher loan amounts,
Yeah,
and the
that's
reason
right.
they would
Those
do
are
that is
jumbos,
because
right?
right, it's a jumbo loan product.
Yeah.
And there's already, if you want to talk about discrimination, the government already discriminates against people who live in Northern California because our housing prices are so high. We don't qualify for the
Conforming loans.
conforming loan
Yeah,
amounts.
I mean,
you
well,
know?
right there,
417, yeah.
conforming versus jumbo is already a discriminatory.
But
type of thing,
I'm
but it has
guessing
nothing
that
to do with-
lawsuit was probably several years ago before they
No.
even when it was.
No, it was very recent, and in fact, that they said Luther Burbank said in a statement that they described the loan program in question as a highly highly specialized jumbo loan designed for high net worth individuals.
So
It has
it's not
nothing to
the-
do with race or anything like that.
It just shows you if it's not the government passing laws in the guise of helping the consumer, but what it really does is take away consumer choice. Then you've got the
That's it.
attorneys
Right.
who are doing the same, filing, basically borderline frivolous lawsuits
Well,
to
this
do
was the
nothing but
Justice
take away.
Department got
Oh,
involved.
jeez.
Yeah, and
So
they
it is
said-
the government.
Yeah, so they said Luther Burbank is prohibited from implementing a $400,000 minimum loan program. I mean, I just don't understand that. Anyway, okay, so here are our thoughts for the day. The chances of you dying on the way to get your lottery ticket are greater than your chances of winning. And that's the reason why I never buy lottery tickets, because it's just too darn dangerous. Okay. And why isn't chocolate considered a vegetable? It comes from cocoa beans, and beans are vegetables. Now, I tried that with my mom, and she didn't buy it either.
I'm eating more chocolate for that.
I'm eating more chocolate just for that reason. All right, audience, tune in next week to the Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long. Ta-da!
Boom! Just like that.
I just made a loan to a guy. Actually, we're closing next week. That in 2010.